Hello, hello. I hope I'm in the frame. I've got the camera set up a little bit differently today. I am sorry for the delay in a new video for this project. I don't know if you watched the last video, but we did have a problem down at our rental. And while it is not solved yet, we do have the plan. Things are in progress, and in my downtime, while working on that situation, I have been moving forward with my book that we have been going over with illustrating. A lot of you, if you are creative people, you know creativity does not like to sit still. It simply doesn't. It wants an outlet, and if you try to avoid that outlet, you are going to get cranky. You are going to be unpleasant. You're not even going to like yourself. So make sure that no matter what you have going on in your life, please embrace your creativity too. You and everybody else will thank you for it. So let's talk about where I am with this project. I have gone ahead and created my line drawings that will be transferred onto the master paper in order to add all of my color. Now, there are a few ways that you can handle this. We will get into it, but first let's talk about the paper that you are going to use for your final illustrations. Do yourself a favor. You don't have to do this. Do yourself a favor, and you want to cut your paper to the size that you are going to use. That means that you need to go double check your measurements on the paper that you have used for your idea book. I came up with 8.5 by 8.5. I counted the number of illustrations that I have. I came up with the fact that I will need 29 pieces of paper. I have decided to use my title page illustration as my cover illustration as well, so that will account for 2. You can get away with not cutting your paper by taking your full-size paper, lining your line drawing paper up to or lining this up over top of it to the corner on your light table option, and we'll get into that in a minute. And then whenever you scan your illustration, you can handle the cropping on the computer instead. However, I find it a lot easier to just go ahead and cut my paper. It lets me know what I am dealing with. It lets me see it visually and all of that. Also, pardon the kung fu hands, I can't talk without them. So if you're gonna cut your paper, one of the things that you might wanna invest in, especially if you're gonna do this again, is one of these. I don't care what brand it is, just so it has, I like the grid on this one, and it has the measurements. This is a guillotine cutter. It has a lock on the blade. You raise the blade, you lower the blade, you cut things. It's very, very sharp. When you pick this thing up, or when not in use, keep it locked. When you pick this thing up, don't pick it up from here, because you're gonna cut yourself. It's just that simple. So anyway, when you're looking at it, I hope that you can see this. I'll try to move the paper down, or that I'm going to show you, just to see how it works. I already have my paper cut, because this is actually take 2 of the video. But you unlock it, you raise it up. These are some of my cutoffs from the other paper. Say that you want this to be a 2-inch by 2-inch square. You line it up on the 2-inch. You make sure that you have an even gap down the grid, and you drop the guillotine. Then, since you know this side, which was up against the blade, is straight, you line it up against the top. You line it up against the grid, and you drop the blade. I know that that sounds simplistic, and a lot of you are, but there are people who've never used one, so it's a good thing to know. When you're done using it, please lock the blade again. Yes, I have cut myself on it. I mean, I'm just good that way. So that's how you use a guillotine cutter to cut your paper. You want to only cut a few pages at a time. You don't want to try to do a big stack. You don't want to try to get as many as you can cram underneath that guide there in there, because it will actually, as the blade is coming down, it will pull the paper so that you will end up with uneven edges over on this side. So that being said, let me go around and get my phone and we'll go look at illustrations. You are not going to see my dedication page, and you are not going to see the final drawing, because all books need a little mystery until they are done. So as you can see, I went ahead and used my idea book rough draft sketches, and then I did my line drawing over top of them in a fine tip Sharpie marker. You can use anything so long as it is very dark and very bold. You want it to be able to shine through your blank piece of paper that you are going to use for the finished art. And as you can see, I went ahead and I laid it out, mostly so I could double check my page count and also so I could show you. So we have this little boy and he's following what he believes is a ghost through his house because it woke him up earlier. I have made some changes to my idea book as I went. I will continue refining those changes onto my my official paper, if you will. And I'll show you what some of those are. So let's just come back up here and I'll show you another thing too. I did decide to go ahead and leave the texture off of the kitchen floor. Once I had it done, it just looked a little bit too busy to me, and I decided maybe a plain floor would be fine, so I left it at that. Also, since I am completely unable to draw a straight line freehand, and I was doing quick sketches as well. I am better than, that at straight lines, but you line up, let me see if I can get this here. When you're working on a straight line, you want to very carefully, and I'm trying to do this one-handed, so cut me just a little bit of slack. You want to very carefully line the edge of your ruler up to the edge of the paper in order to get a nice, and you can see that one-handed doesn't work, in order to get a nice consistent straight line. And then you want to adjust the rest of your elements accordingly. You can use this time to change where things, and sometimes you're going to end up doing the oops. That's okay. Ignore it whenever you go to transfer. You're going to sometimes forget to add a line. Okay, oops, no problem. We add that later. But this gets you one step closer to your finished art. You might, look at an illustration. You have this great graphic here that you just love, and then once you see it in line drawing, you're like, I just don't know. So right now, this is on hold. I'm not sure if I'm going to include the little city pattern on the rug or not. If I want to, I can always include it later. So for a light table option, maybe you're a lucky person and your studio that you have available is a little bit better stocked than mine. I do not have, this is upside down, sorry. I do not have a light table. But that's okay, because what I do have, you'll just come right on over with me, is a window. It's my lovely yard out there. It needs mowed. It's okay. It needs weeded. It's okay. No problem. Like I said, we've been busy. So, pardon the fact that you can see all of my scrap paper stuff as well. Just ignore it. What you're looking at is the darker lines. Now this is going to be for my cover and for my title page. A lot of these lines here will not be included when I do my transfer sketch. Those were just to let me have an idea of where my fabric was flowing on this ghost and how I wanted it to flow. But you put your line drawing up on the window first, and let's see if I can show you that real quick. I should have left it down. Okay, so you put your line drawing up there first, and then you tape your clean piece of paper over top of it, being careful to line up your edges and your corners. And then you can use this and your window, the light coming through your window, in order to transfer your drawing. Now, another thing is you can go ahead and refine, like I'm going to probably extend this out a little bit. It's another refining option here. I also know I'm going to need 2 of these, so, you know, there's that. But, you know, a window works great. The only thing that I will warn you is your arm is going to get tired. Working vertically is a lot different than working horizontally. Please make sure that you have your ruler in for those straight lines, and then all it is tracing. Now, why do you want to do this? Because no matter how much you think everything is going to go just fine and dandy on that final artwork, you know, your cat's going to run across it in my case. Or you may spill something on it. Or you're working on it and really you just did not get the right color. No problem. It's going to cost you a little bit more time and another piece of blank paper. And then all you have to do is put it over top, have your light shining through. See, you can't quite see it as well here. You can still see it, but it's a lot more difficult. And then transfer to a new clean sheet of paper and start over. Starting over is not a big deal. Don't kick yourself if you have to, because things happen, and this is supposed to be a joyful process. So you want to have fun with it. You want to learn as you go. You want to be able to create this thing that you are working so hard for without driving yourself nuts. Creativity is not supposed to hurt you. I don't think that people say that near often enough. Creativity is not supposed to hurt you. It is supposed to make you feel good. So, embrace that feeling while you're working forward with this. Anytime you feel frustrated, set things down, walk away, take a big breath, and then go back to it in a calm manner. You will feel so much better for it. All right, so that's all I have for you today. Once I get my, pardon me, allergies. Once I get all of my sketches transferred, then we will follow the title page and the book cover, or one or the other, through the color process and through the rest of the book process. I'm not going to put you through each and every illustration while you watch me color, but I can show you how I am going to transfer that and make it into an actual real picture. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you find it helpful. Please, please, please embrace your creativity. Do something wonderful today, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.